A new bill for SSI, which could include $1,886 monthly checks for supplemental security income. I have all the details and exactly what you need to know right here in the video. Let's get right into it. I know in this video, we're specifically focusing on SSI, supplemental security income, and the roughly 8 million beneficiaries who do rely on this program each and every month. Now, I do want to talk through the details of this new piece of legislation, what it includes, and how it could potentially include a $1,886 monthly check for some beneficiaries, as this would reform the program in a major way, and it would also remove one of the most disliked provisions within the program, which is the marriage penalty. We've got a lot to talk about here in the video. Let's get into it and talk about all the details of this legislation and how it would reform SSI in a really good way. Let's get right into it. Really fast before we do, thanks for joining me. If you have not done so yet, make sure to do yourself a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button right down below the video. It is totally 100% free to do so. Always has been and always will be. I'll be here for you right by your side no matter what every single day, advocating on your behalf, doing all the research that you don't need to, breaking it all down into these short videos, watching the headlines, all the new announcements, the bills, packages, and proposals, anything else coming out right now. I'm watching it all closely and bringing it to you every single day in these videos so we can all stay updated with what's going on and so you can maximize your money, benefits, checks, raises to benefits, checks, programs, stimulus, anything else like that. Again, I want to bring it to your attention in these videos. So again, please subscribe down below so you don't miss anything going forward. Again, thank you so much for being here. Really do appreciate it. And let's get into it and talk about the details of this new legislation, what it means for SSI specifically, and again, how this would change the program in, like I said, a good way. There's not that many pieces of legislation out there that actually do something for the beneficiaries, but this is actually one of those that, again, would actually be very good, and it would remove the most disliked provision within SSI, again, the marriage penalty. I know, that's a bad one right there, right? All right, so let me talk you through the details of what's going on here. So I am not talking about the SSI Restoration Act. However, this one does take a couple different provisions out of the SSI Restoration Act, and it has it in this own little standalone bill, which is pretty nice, okay? Which, by the way, in my honest opinion, I do think the SSI Restoration Act is probably the best of all of the pieces of legislation out there to reform SSI. That's a good one. I do have some dedicated videos here on the channel talking about that. That's a really good one. There's a lot of good stuff in the SSI Restoration Act, but we're not talking about that one here in this video, but rather I want to talk about a different one that was recently introduced, which, by the way, quick side note, this is a bipartisan piece of legislation. What that simply means is that we've got people from both sides of the aisle that are supporting this legislation that I'm talking about in this video. Why are they not doing it then? Good question. I don't have an answer for you. I have no clue why they haven't passed it yet. If it is bipartisan and they have people from both sides of the aisle supporting it, why are they waiting to pass it? It just doesn't make any sense, right? If it's that easy, then just get it done already and get it out of the way, right? Anyway, let me talk about the details of what's going on here. So first off, let me share with you the name of this piece of legislation. If you would like to look it up, by all means, do some research on it. Otherwise, I will share with you the details of it. So it is called SSI Savings Penalty Elimination Act. Again, SSI Savings Penalty Elimination Act. All right, here's what it comes down to, which, by the way, this also contains the elimination of the marriage penalty. I know a lot of you here in the community want to know the details about that, so I wanted to jump off really quickly here and just talk about that first, okay? So yes, this includes the elimination of the marriage penalty, which would be awesome for a lot of beneficiaries because remember, you have a 25% reduction or penalty to your SSI benefits if you are married, okay? A 25% reduction. That's big, which, by the way, in 2024, that is a reduction of $471 a month is how much that reduction is. It's a lot of money, right? Which, by the way, that's about $5,600 through the course of the entire year of a penalty because you're married. That's weird, okay? That is not a good penalty. Anyway, we can come back and talk about that more here in just a minute. This also does include the increase of the asset levels or cash equivalent levels for single and married couples, okay? Let me discuss this really quickly here. So, as you know, right now, the current levels for an individual, $2,000. You can have up to $2,000 in your possession. If you exceed a $2,000 threshold as an individual, guess what? your benefits are pretty much being garnished at that point, okay? And you may even be losing benefits completely or completely kicked out of the program. That's harsh. I mean, that's bad news right there, right? So as an individual, you know you can have $2,000. As a married couple, you can have $3,000. And again, same applies. If you exceed the limit, you're losing your benefits, you're garnishing benefits, or you're potentially even kicked out of the program. Not good stuff, right? So with this piece of legislation, they want to increase those levels from $2,000 as an individual up to $10,000, and from $3,000 as a married couple up to $20,000, where you would no longer be penalized for having a little bit extra money, trying to set it aside for a rainy day, or some type of unexpected repair, something like this, just to have a little bit of a safety fund, a little rainy day fund set aside, and they're raising that up, okay? So that is one of the main aspects of this piece of legislation here, okay? So that is one of the big ones right there. And again, it would take a very long time for somebody living on $943 or $1,415 as a married couple to save that amount of money up. It would take a very long time, considering you're saving like what? Maybe a couple dollars a month, because it's so expensive to live these days with living expenses and the small benefit. It would take a very long time to save that up. But this is what they want to do, is by raising this up. And again, this would be a good thing, even though it's not really solving the problem, which is the beneficiaries need more money. And I'm not really sure how they're going to save more money when benefits are so low. But again, this is just what they want to do with it. Now, let's quickly talk about the marriage penalty and the elimination of this. So remember, right now, the maximum benefit for an individual is $943, okay? However, the maximum amount for a married couple is $1,415, okay? So just think of it this way. If two individuals were getting the maximum benefit, $943 a month, if they were together, if they got married, now their benefit would be reduced from $943 multiplied by 2 would be $1,886. But yet, if they get married, now they're looking at $1,415, a reduction of $471 a month because of getting married, okay? However, because the marriage penalty would be reduced, as in removed, as a result of this legislation right here, now these two individuals, rather than being penalized by 20% or $471 a month of reducing benefits because of the marriage penalty, if they pass this piece of legislation and they raise the asset levels and the cash or cash equivalent levels, the possession limits like I talked about a minute ago, and remove the marriage penalty, now guess what? This same couple that I just talked about, getting the maximum benefit of $943 each, rather than getting reduced by 25%, now they could potentially be getting together combined $1,886 a month as a maximum, rather than $1,415 a month, if that makes sense, right? So again, removing the marriage penalty would ultimately result in more money in your pocket if you are somebody who is receiving SSI, whether you're potentially, going to be getting married, if you are potentially married and already getting the marriage penalty, things like this. This is what it comes down to. So just removing the marriage penalty, I know it doesn't sound like, wait, how is that going to translate into more money? It translates into more money because if there's no marriage penalty, now guess what? You can get the maximums as an individual and a married couple, which is more, right? So hope that kind of makes sense. Now, again, I want to preface this, or I guess I want to follow up by saying, just because the maximum is $943 as an individual and removing the marriage penalty would lift that up to $1,886 as a married couple, just because that's the maximum benefit amount does not necessarily mean everybody would be eligible to receive that, right? And again, I know you know that, but I just have to throw it out there as a quick disclaimer as well, okay? So anyway, there's some good stuff in this, even though these are some of the provisions out of the SSI Restoration Act, which, by the way, that is the best piece of legislation out there. This is still pretty good. It takes a couple provisions out of that, puts them together in this new legislation here, and it has bipartisan support. So why they haven't done it yet is still confusing to me, right? So either way, I will continue watching this one very closely as I do get more details on this or any other piece of legislation out there or anything going on in regards to money, benefits, raises to benefits, checks, programs, stimulus, SSI, anything like that. Of course, I'll bring it to your attention right away in these short videos. So do yourself a huge favor, subscribe down below, totally free. Share the video with your friends, family, social media. Again, totally free to do so. Leave a comment, question, feedback down below, comment section, totally free to do so. You catch the theme here? Free, free, free. We all love free, right? Free is my favorite word, by the way. yeah, anyway. So again, make sure to go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel, or those that I have linked down below in the description. Great content there as well. Otherwise, enjoy your day, take care, have a good one, and I'll catch you again later in the next